Stanford University.
Now we're on to Kathryn VanArendonk, who is PhD candidate in English. How does serial fiction work, television and the Victorian novel? I hope this isn't about Downton Abbey, but maybe it is.
It's not, but I would
spoil my next episode.
Well, now I'm sad I didn't make it. Okay.
Okay.
A few years ago, I began to notice that television critics were talking about a specific kind of television show, in particular The Sopranos, The Wire, Mad Men, with a particular word. They called these shows novelistic. This was fascinating to me because I am a Victorianist and because I love television and because it actually makes a lot of sense to compare television and the novel. TV, as we know, is released piece by piece. It's written and produced and seen by us 1 week at a time rather than all at once. And as it turns out, in the 19th century, this is also the way many of the most popular novels were released. They were serialized. These are novels by Charles Dickens and George Eliot. And so the beginning of my dissertation was really, is this true? Is television novelistic? As I began to think about this question, it became clear that there are a lot of other questions associated with this. One of them is my experience as a contemporary American television viewer similar or essentially the same as a Victorian who is obsessed with Great Expectations in the way that I am obsessed with Mad Men, because I am? And as another question, how do you tell a story for a really, really long time? How do you sustain a fiction for the weeks and months and years that these things go on? In my dissertation, I approach this a few different ways. One of them is through genre. So, for instance, I talk about the rise of the detective in Victorian fiction and think about the similarities between that and just the predominance of crime fiction and detectives on television today. But the approach that I want to talk about for my dissertation was more surprising to me. So, and that is the consideration of a single serial part. If television works like the novel, then a single episode of television should work approximately the same way as a single serial installment of Great Expectations. But the more I looked at this problem, the more I realized that is just not true. An episode of television is a unique and lovely narrative form that has no corollary in the novel. It is a whole, complete, finished experience in the way that a single installment of a novel was never designed to be. So here's my analogy for this, right? A novel is like juggling 20 plates at a time and then trying to catch them all at the very same moment at the end. A television show says, I'm going to throw one beautiful plate up in the air once a week. It turns out the one plate method is a lot more sustainable, it's a lot more flexible, and it's easier for us to watch. So, and I think this is just an amazing thing about television. It reminded me of a Scottish reviewer who was writing in the 19th century. He was really sad that his favorite Thackeray novel was ending. And he wrote that he wished at the novel that the feast could be perpetually renewed. This is not something that the Victorian novel knew how to do. This is something that TV has learned how to do. It's why television is, in this respect, not at all novelistic, and it's why I think that's kind of a great thing. Thank you.
For more, please visit us at stanford.edu.